Get started. Welcome. So, again, for those who just entered, we're going to go, obviously, looking at food labels. And I'm going to give you some guidelines. We're going to go over some together. You're going to do it by yourself. You're going to point. I'm going to say you can unmute and just talk and chat. We'll see how this works. But the really fun, exciting thing is we have prizes. Oh my gosh. So tonight, this is the grand prize, I think. Make America Healthy Again. One person will be mailed this cap. And then we have other prizes here. We have books, a guide to nutrition, vegan nutrition. We have Gregor videos, clinical nutrition from Gregor, low carb fried, a t-shirt. It's all good. So what I'm going to do is I'll tell you some of the criteria to win prizes. And then tomorrow, when it comes to, oh, it just went, did I do that? On the email, I'll let you know who won the prizes. Okay, and I'll get your addresses. Okay, so let's begin. What are we going to look at? And most of this is from Jeff Novick, if you know him. He's a really fun and great nutritionist. And I was at a workshop that he did a number of years ago in Florida. And first thing he said is that I'm going to share with you is never, ever, ever believe the front package of a product. So we'll take a look at the back and side packaging. And here's what we're going to look at. And I will send you the 6 criteria when I'm our email. We're going to look at the serving size, and servings per container, fat calories, and we're going to try to keep each serving under 20%. Sodium, we're trying to keep the sodium low so that there's no more than 1-to-1 ratio looking at the serving size, the calories. Now, condiments is a bit different. We're not going to look at condiments because they do have a higher sodium content. So that's okay. Fiber, we're going to look if there's a whole grains, and we aim for 20% of fiber. So if you've seen Michael Greger and looking at the 1/5, you're going to aim for looking at the total carbohydrates, and we're going to try to get 20% at least in fiber content. Any added sugars, and I'm going to say that we're right in the process of changing labeling here in the United States. So it will be soon that any added sugars, some of the labels you'll see it and some aren't changed yet. And we're going to avoid the saturated, the hydrogenated and tropical oils, and looking for the sugar content in the first 3 ingredients. Okay, so that's just what we're going to be looking for. Now let's go over some examples here. So I started with Special K. I went and I actually looked up what are the most popular cereals. One is Corn Flakes, which we'll be looking at later. And Special K was up there too because it's considered healthy. So I like that. So I pulled up the label that comes with the Special K. And if you see, a lot of this information, you don't have to be concerned with. It's extra information, and I crossed out the percent recommended daily allowance, the vitamins, and the bottom. What you're just going to be looking at is the left-hand side, which is not X'd out. So I'm going to go in the next slide, and that is the part on the left-hand side where you're going to see we can get this information. So what is the serving size? Well, it's 1 cup. Okay. Now, we want how many calories in the serving size? Well, as you see, it's 150 calories. And if we want to keep our fat under 20%, it's best that if we take, so I'm going to ask you, this is where I'm going to ask you, somebody can unmute yourself and say, what would be the fat content? What is 20% of 1.5 grams? Anybody want to? 20%, I'm sorry, 150. We want under 30 calories. I'll do this first one. It's not fair for me to throw it on you. We want to take 150 calories and 20% of that would be 30. And the reason I do it quickly is 10% is 15, and then you double that to 30. Okay, but if you can see, they're sneaky here, Special K is. They're not going to give you the actual calories of fat. They put it as grams. And knowing us, United States, you know, it takes us a long time to figure out grams. So that's why you can look at 1 gram is approximately 9 calories. You can even round up to 10. So we're looking at 1.5, and so that's like 14 calories, and it is under the 20%. So that's good. You know, that would be okay. Sodium. So we have 150 calories. We're trying to keep no more than 150 micrograms of sodium. And as you can see, the sodium content is 220. So it's a little bit above. And I should say this as we get more into looking at these labels. These are guidelines. And you have to decide what you want to buy, what you'll tolerate, what you won't. You know, it's all individual. These are only guidelines. It's difficult to find the perfect package if we're looking for convenience also. Fiber. So we're looking at 33 total grams of carbohydrates. If you looked at 20%, so you think again, what's 10% of 33? Is you're going to do about 3.3. So we're looking at 6 to 7 grams of dietary fiber if we wanted to make it optimum. And this is only 3 grams. So it is a low fiber cereal here. And are there any added sugars? Oh my heavens, yes. There's 11 grams of added sugars. So all the total sugar is 11 grams in our Special K vanilla and almond cereal is all added sugar, which takes us to the ingredients. One of the reasons that people think Special K is so healthy because of all the added minerals and vitamins, but we know as our whole food plant-based diet eating, we don't have to worried about that because we're taking our B12 and we're eating a combination of variety of our plant foods. So are there whole grains? Yes, the first ingredient is a whole grain wheat. And the rice is probably, it doesn't say brown rice, so it's probably a white rice given the fiber, low fiber, but it all does have wheat bran, which would add some fiber. And does it have any saturated fats, tropical oils? No, it doesn't have any of that. It's the almonds will give it some fat, but it's minimal. Is sugar in the first 3 ingredients? Yes. Number 3, and we know from looking at the label with 11 grams that that's high sugar. So is it going to be thumbs up or thumbs down? I hope you all agree with me that this one would be a thumbs down. We can do much better with buying a box of cereal. Okay, so now we're going to try this again. The first 3 I'm going to, and I thought because one person had emailed me earlier about tortillas, so I just said, oh, I'm going to pick up a package of flour tortillas. This is Old El Paso. You can find in most grocery stores. So I said, this is a good one to evaluate. So if we look at the serving size here, it's 2 of them are as a standard serving size, and there's 5 servings per container, which of course, that would make it 10. Okay, so if we're looking at fat, so with total fat here is 4.5 grams. And again, so how many calories is 4.5 grams? Because it's not giving us the calorie in this label. So we're going to figure it out. And if we look at 9 times, you can do that 9 times the 4.5, or you can even round that up to 10 if you wanted. That's 40 some calories that we're going to have in fat. And 20% of 150 is 30 again. So we're trying to keep our fat calories under 30. And this isn't under 30. And as we look in the ingredients, you're going to see 2 grams of that is saturated, which is not good. So far, I'm not liking this whatsoever. But let's move on. Sodium, we try to keep it 150. That's our calories, no more than 150. And the sodium is at 280. So that is above, it's almost, well, I can't say it's double, but it's considerable above, let's put it that way, of what we would want. How about the fiber? So we have 24 total carbohydrates. And we think, okay, what's 20% of 24? So it's going to be about 5 grams of fiber that we would want, well, under that. But we only get 1 gram of fiber here. So again, it's a very low fiber food item. No added sugars, okay. And let's go to the ingredients. Any whole grains? No, it's enriched flour bleach. So it has been taken. So that's why it's low in fiber. And are there saturated fats? Yes. We saw that on the label, but look at that, palm oil, and it could be canola or soybean. And is sugar in the first, and there's no sugar in it. But if you keep on reading, you can also look at, like, there's some hydrogenated vegetable oil down there. It says not appeal to me. There's a lot of things that I'm unsure of. In fact, I'm so unsure that I had to look them up and see. And you can see that, like glycerin, why would you have glycerin? And I realized that it is retain moisture. It's in processed foods. The fumaric acid is in some other foods too. It's like a fungus, and it's a food stabilizer. And then the monodiglycerides are also a fairly common. So for me, thumbs down. Okay, if you have any questions, write them in the chat. Feel free to do that as we go down, because I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do a veggie burger with you, and then I'm going to pull up some other things, and that's where we start all our fun and games there. Thumbs down, 2 for 2. You're right, Annette. There we go. Okay. So I thought we would go with the BOCA. It's one of the, what did you say, Lucinda? Why do fats not add up to? Oh, Trader Joe's. Wait, Brittany, I have it. You got it. Anything with a paragraph is not my kind of food. Yeah. And I don't know, Lucinda, why do fats not add up to total fats? I'm not sure what you meant by that. You mean the 4.5? You can unmute yourself. 4.5 is the total fats, but of that, 2 of them is saturated fats. It does not have to add up underneath. Okay. Okay, Boca. So they're vegan. And again, if you're looking at this packaging, a lot of these veggie burgers, they are touting protein. You know, they're going to that testosterone male there, and you're going to get your protein. So if we look at one of these veggie burgers, that's the serving size. It's 70 calories. And if you look at the calories from fat, it's 10. So if you looked at 20% of 70, it would be 14 calories. And this is a low fat. Lo and behold, it's a low fat item for a processed, for a store-bought vegan burger. Okay. Sodium, no more than 1 to 1. So we would want 70 calories. We would like to keep that sodium content under 70. Lo and behold, oh my heavens, 450. And this is the problem with your prepackaged veggie burgers. The sodium content tends to be outrageous. So this is very, very high in sodium. Fiber is at 20% or more. So our total carbohydrates are 6, very low in carbohydrates. And if you look here, almost 2/3 of that carbohydrate, about 66% of the total carb is fiber. So this is a high fiber burger here, and no added sugar. Okay, and you might want to look there at the bottom. It's 13 grams protein, and as it says, you'll find out why when we look at the ingredients. So this is the ingredients. There's no whole grains, but there is some wheat gluten in it. So if you're sensitive or celiac, you want to stay away certainly from that. Are there saturated fats, animal, tropical oil, hydrogenated? It has some corn oil in it, but it is, as we saw, a low fat one. And there's no sugar. But let's look at some of these other things. This is the troubling things to me. Soy protein concentrate. So in many of the veggie burgers, many of the snack bars, the that you see for after working out, the high protein, you're going to have concentrated protein source. And this soy protein is a highly processed soybean. So you're taking out the fiber, you're taking out the fat, you're leaving a singular. It's not, I would definitely stay away from concentrated soy protein. Concentrates and isolates. We'll get into the isolates a little bit later. Okay. The other one, the methylcellulose is a thickener and emulsifier, but it's also, you'll find it in laxatives. So there goes some fiber for you. And caramel color, you'll find also in a lot of a lot of sauces. And the problem with caramel color is that it is an artificial, and you don't know if it has a carcinogen. There's a chemical in it that can be there's a long name for the 4-mel, that's a short form, but it is a potential carcinogen. So I'd be careful of anything that has the caramel color in it. And the malt extract is really, it says it contains gluten because it's from a barley, most likely, that adds some flavor, some sweetness to it. So would I buy this? I would not. Very high in sodium, and I don't like the ingredients, the processing in the ingredients. So I would stay away. Any questions here? Okay, folks. So here's our agenda here. I came up with 4 more bread products, and you'll see number 11. This is a slide, is what Brittany already brought up. Package of pizza, cauliflower, a sprouted grain bread, and then 4 more veggie burgers. They tend to be very common. 4 cereals, 2 other snacks. And then we have a bonus lightning round here. Breaking news this morning about the Lara bars. Okay, so this is going to be fun. So what I'm going to do here is I'll start with the corn tortillas. And I'm just going to I'll let you sit and ponder this. And what I want you to do is look at these 6, because it's not going to work unless you try it out here. So I want you to look at these 6 things. And as I knowing these are guidelines, they're not going to be perfect, but I want you in the chat room to write down, would you buy this? Why? Oh, I didn't mention that one of the prizes, it goes for participation. That's one thing I'm going to do tomorrow in the chat room is look and see who actually wrote down, took that leap. Thank you, Annette. Anybody else want to say? So far we have few people. It is a low sodium. Yes, it's on my list, Brittany said. 3 ingredients. Yes, yes, yes. And I want to say these make great I put mine in the toaster oven. I'm glad you all like it, but if you have to get to Trader Joe's, that's the unfortunate part of it. Yeah, but not in my area. I know. But there are some others. If you look in, there's some like Mission has one that very few ingredients. Their street taco is a substitute. But if you can put it in the air fryer or put it in the oven at a high temperature, or I just put mine in the toaster oven and it toast it, and it gets, I should say, I slice them 4 ways first and put it in the toaster oven, and then you have your chips, tortilla chips. Yes, but I don't have, I know. Okay, so that's a good one. That was an easy one. Now let's go on to the most popular packaged. Maybe not. There, Bubbly is one of the most popular packaged Italian pizza crusts. It's supposed to be at top of the line. So I'm going to give you some time, just sit with it and look at the ingredients and then look at the label. I have to say this is one of the first times I've really looked at it. No. Oh, you all got it. You are, my gosh. This is the gifted group here. I have to say, I was really shocked when Get Engine 2 pizza crust. I like it. There are some other ones too that we get that don't have, but I was really surprised about that. The fact that this had the casein in it, and plus the cheese, the milk, and everything like that. And so, yes, I'm glad you all said, let's not go there because, it has it's just not a healthy choice whatsoever. And there are ways, I know. And the palm oil, thank you. Lots of the additives, as you can see, looking at the size of the label. Yes, sir. 1/8 of a shell. I got it, Linda. I know. You're not going to eat a lot there with 1/8 of the shell. Yes. Okay, so let's look at cauliflower, because there's one of the growth factors this past year or two has been the cauliflower pizza shells. So let's look at that next. This is a Green Giant one. So I'm going to let you just rest for this a while and take a look. So, no, lots of sodium. So we want 180 milligrams as opposed, and then we're asking for 80. Yeah, somebody says it does have canola oil in it, though it's low in, if you look at that, we want no more than 16 calories from fat. Yeah, so Donna, so we're looking at the calories. It's 80 calories a serving, 1/4 of a crust. And if we want no more than 20% of the 80, which would be 16. So we'd want no more than 16 calories from fat. And this has 1 gram or 9 calories. So it is within that calorie range. That would be a yes. It is less than 20%. The sodium is higher than the 100, than the 80, though not significantly higher. So no one's saying yes here. Because I would consider this in my, because I'm not that picky, I guess, because it's something that was in reason. Let's put it that way. If you're totally an oil-free, then of course not. But to me, it's in my diet. I'm not, that stringent. I would consider it. Absolutely, Marie. It's better than the previous one. Absolutely. Okay. This is sprouted bread. This is, oh, you can't see the ingredients on your screen. Oh, the ingredients are right down there at the ingredients are cauliflower, rice flour, cornstarch, corn flour, cornmeal, canola oil, salt, and pepper.
Okay, I think what it is that the pictures are blocking it. So if the picture, if your video was up a little higher, I could see it probably. Or I could just not see all of you. That's the way it is on my iPad.
Oh, okay. Okay. Maybe you could change the view. Okay. So yeah, let's go back down to, okay, so what do you think about this sprouted grain? Similar to Ezekiel, but it's the oldies, a lot cheaper. Yeah. The iPad always tends to be different when we're doing this. So take a look at the numbers, the 6, and just, write down, would you buy it? Yes. And if you would, why? Is it covering everything? Do you have any questions? I buy this bread. Okay, Marie, I do too. Okay, Cheryl doesn't, the wheat gluten. Certainly, if you have a sensitivity, you're not going to do that. Looks good. Just had it this morning, Joyce. Oh, good. Oh, good. Okay, so let us move down. Okay, now we're getting to the burgers. One of the most popular brands is, when I was looking it up, is Morning Star. They have all different kinds. It's such a range. So I just went with their Chipotle black bean. And so take a look here. You can see the serving size is 1 burger and then the 170 calories. And what do you think about fat, sodium, the fiber, the rest of it? Yeah, I know it's not vegan, Jan. So if that bothers you, if you stay away from honey, right? Very high sodium. Yes. 450 milligrams. It should be no higher than 170 if we're looking at a ratio of 1 to 1. Very processed. There's some good things. Well, if you look at the ingredients, there are some, it looks like some good things in there. But look at, okay, so the fat calories, we know is less than 20%. So we want no more than 34 fat calories, and they have 45. So it's not high, way over. But look at the first ingredient, water. That was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, we're paying all this for water. That's just, yeah. And you're right. The onions, the cooked black beans, and the cooked brown rice sound like we're on a real start here. Again, they are looking, the front labels all about protein and fat, and it is less fat than some of the others. But here we go. Does it not only has the concentrate, but it also has isolate. And that, to me, that's even worse. If you have to look at it, it's a isolate is even higher processing than concentrate. And it's the protein. You're taking out all the good stuff and just leaving the protein into it. So I'm glad many of you are saying, yes, for many reasons, I agree with you. I stay away from it. It's difficult to find a good veggie burger. Okay, so Amy's you'll see it in a lot of the health areas, food stores. That's where I first saw it, but you can see it in certainly your major grocery stores because it's organic and it's natural and all of that good stuff. So we have their California, their basic one. So you just take a look, take your time. Yeah, that's the first thing that stands out, what you're putting in, the sodium level. If it's 150 calories, you want to stay under 150 milligrams of sodium, and this is 550. It's like mind-boggling how much that is. And if you look at the ingredients, the organic mushrooms, it starts out so good. The bulgur wheat, the onions, the celery, carrots, oats, walnuts, the wheat gluten nuts, potato. And then, you know, you're wondering, why do they feel the need to put the oil in? And I know why, because, you know, people are used to the taste of the oil of it. Okay, any questions more? We'll move on. Now, I had to put this in because this is a, you know, you see all these Beyond Burgers, Impossible Burgers, and Dr. Prager's, who was one of the first companies to come out with a veggie burger. Dr. Prager's has the pure plant protein burger. I'll say that fast. So this is a very similar to the Beyond Burger and whatnot. So look at the ingredients and what do you think about this? If you have one burger. No way. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Sodium, oils, and 2 ingredients. It is 12 grams of fat. Very high fat. And that's the problem with most of these plant. There's a couple problems. One is the processing, and again the pea protein is they have taken a healthy pea, and process it so much down to it just getting the protein, because that's what we are saying, 22 grams of pure plant protein. We're going to look at the protein. And the fact that the avocado oil is in there, that really puts 12 grams of fat in it. Is really high fat and sodium. And it's one of the most unhealthy. Better just eat some plain butternut squash in a salad. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to do the other Dr. Prager's though. This is his original, the California Veggie Burger. Cheryl's starting with no because of the oil. So if you look at it, so if we have 130 calories, we would want to keep our fat calories no higher than 26. That's 20% of 130. And here we have 6 grams of fat. So that would be 54. So that's over twice the amount of fat that we would want in it. Because again, if you're looking at the ingredients, it's sounding good. Carrots, onions, string beans, okra, and soy, like, oh, this is a good spinach. It has some good stuff in it. And the sodium is about twice. It's not, this is where you get comparative. It isn't as high as some of the other ones we've looked at, but it is certainly higher sodium than we would want. Okay. So we have a couple here. We're not going to have time for, but I had to do cornflakes, the most popular cereal in America. What do you think? Very few ingredients. Sugar is. So this is an example where there's very few ingredients, you know. And so is sugar in the first three ingredients? Well, there's only three ingredients, basically. So if you look at 80 calories and there's no fat in it, so it's low fat, sodium is twice, well, almost twice that we would want it. And the sugars are 2 grams. So somebody put down only in a pinch. And I would agree, this is better than some of the other. Just know when it has milled corn in a lot of cereals, that means that this is where the fiber is removed because it's ground so finely. And the malt flavor is extracted from barley. So if you have a gluten sensitivity or celiac, you would want to stay away just from that malt. Usually it's barley, I should say, in that malt flavoring. Okay. Puffins, I wanted to get a multi-grain, and Puffins, the brand, are often in the healthier food stores. So, and you hear multi-grain is something that you're looking forward to when you're buying food. So what do you think here? Okay, some of you is like, yes, not bad. So we do have, it's low fat, we know that. Sodium is low, okay. Fake sugar. See, that's what bothers me is the sugars. It's 7 grams. It isn't as high as some, but it's all added sugars. And why would they put the caramel color? I know. To make, because they want to color it, but you just don't need that. And the fake sugar. Yeah, I was disappointed in this one. You're hoping more. So that just shows you. Yeah, multigrain, you would think it would be a higher fiber. I agree. Okay, we have to put in a granola because everyone thinks, oh, granola, it has to be healthy. But we know better, don't we? And I did the Udis because it's a gluten-free, but any granola is interesting to look at. Sugar is high. Yeah. Too much sugar. So it is 7 grams of sugar. So it actually gives you sugar and oil. Yeah, it really does. It gives you the calories from fat here, so you don't have to figure it out. So, but it's 1/3 of the calories comes from fats. Yeah, yeah. I would pass too. I think granola is not that difficult to make. If I can make it, it's not that difficult. And yes, you can make your own even if you wanted gluten-free. Okay, shredded wheat. I had to put in a shredded wheat because when people say, well, what cereal would you recommend? Does anybody here? There's one ingredient. No oil. This is a tricky one. And no sodium, low in fat, yes. In fat. And there's fiber in it too, because I would agree, this one's good. This one is good. You can have it even for a snack. The shredded wheat, they're good to put it in a bag and just carry with you, even to snack on. Only one ingredient. Okay. So let's move down to snacks. I have 2 snacks here. Organic, oh my gosh. And you have all these, we now have blue corn, we have red corn chips, we have pea chips, we have vegetable chips, we have sweet potato chips, everything you think you're going to get healthy. Would you buy this? Can be addictive. They can. Yeah. And I've been there, of course, where you have these chips. I have had one at parties, or I've taken one or a couple and crunched them over a salad, you know, to give it to some crunch. But the fat is way too high. And look at that. Look at the serving size. 6 chips. I'm glad yeah, some of you others saw that too. I'm like, what? Yes. And we know that your Ezekiel tortillas, I know Linda Jones makes them all the time, but you can make your own chips from that also. Yeah, it's only 1 gram of fiber. Okay, and here we come. Have you bought the Lara bars? There's all kinds of varieties now. It's high in sugar, you're right. But it's like any nuts and dried fruit. You eat it sparingly, you eat it. I keep a Lara bar in my car. Yeah, he doesn't have a way. Yes, absolutely. It is something that you can grab that is needed. It will give you some energy. And it has relatively high dietary fiber. So it's like, you know, a handful of, unless you have heart issues and you're really staying away from the fat, or a handful of, we always say 1 ounce of the raw nuts are great, a variety of nuts. And the same with the dates and cherries in moderation. Okay. But if you will see Lara bars, how they have expanded their offerings to, some of them are chocolate chip, peanut butter. I mean, there's some that have these added sugars in that I do. Cherry is my favorite also, Darla. I love this one. Sometimes I just take a little bit and sprinkle it on my oatmeal for some flavor. Okay, so we're coming to the bonus round here. Oh, good. We still have. So I was reading the New York Times this morning. They had this article about Kind, and they said about how Mars is acquiring this company of Kind, and they are betting on the fact that they want to add it to their line as a healthy. And you can see what I've circled in red there. They're emphasizing clear packages and ingredients that people can pronounce. And I thought, oh, I have to add a slide of on this Kind breakfast bar, because you're going to hear a lot about this now with Mars buying it. So here's going to be the final round here. I pulled up the honey oat. That's the same one that's in the article that I was reading about. And I want each of you here for your final round is to write down your answers to the questions that we've been going down, as far as what are the fat calories? Are they less than 20%? You can just put it in the chat room, just put, or write it down. Just put 1, 2, 3, 2, yes, 3, no, 4, yes, or whatever you want to say. But take a few moments here, and this is your final exam here. This is for the grand prize. I'll have to look at the gingerbread, Cheryl, because I love gingerbread. Yes, okay. I forgot to look up gum acacia. I assume it is a binding to bind it together. Yeah, I would have to Google that because I'm not sure. Yeah, you all are getting it, hitting the nail on the head here. It is sodium, yes. But the cane sugar is number 2, and the oil, yeah, you could do better. Raisin paste is a sugar. It's a natural sugar. It's like a date paste. I use it a lot when I'm cooking. I use raisin or baking. Yeah. So it is sweetener. Let me put it this way. It's a sweetener. Yes. So it isn't a whole food plant, it's not a whole food. So what we're looking at today, everything is here is processed. All these items are processed. And I guess my takeaway is read the labels. You know, I want to make it convenient, so I do buy some packaged foods. But read the labels and make sure that you're just not relying on the front of the package, because it will mislead you without a doubt. And I know you all are savvy enough to do that. So we just have, are there any questions that you can either put in the chat room or, you know, unmute yourself? I should ask before we leave here, are there any suggestions of some items that you want to suggest to others? You can write them in the chat room and I will add those tomorrow to the email. Did I get a few emails? Cheryl, did I answer? Cheryl was one of those. And Deb Pence, you sent me that. Hopefully, I wrote back to you that I couldn't make out the labels. Thank you, Diane. Yeah, I would say, Joyce, that's a good question. Is there higher priority? It is individual. I would say the highest is the fat and the sodium. Those two, the added oils, yes. Well, and they are going to have to, Erin said that the terms for sugar, anything like a fructose, anything with an ose at the end, are all different kinds of processed added sugars. So they are going to have to put in, companies will have to put in how many of sugars are added. So it will help eventually. Is that what you meant, Erin? I hope.
You know what? I actually had heard that companies are starting to, on purpose, like break up the ingredients that add to the sugar so that they're listed later. So I know that you were saying that, you know, is sugar one of the first 3 ingredients? Like, I think that they're starting to get wise that people are looking for that and starting to break it up so that, you know, the amount of each ingredient is less.
Oh,
and so it's so good to understand how to read, like the added, like you were saying, like the added sugars in the, like the actual grams of sugar and stuff.
Right. Look, not just the total carbohydrates, but the sugars, yes, because you're going to see all kinds as exactly like you said, Erin, one after another that are all sweeteners.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not natural sweeteners there, yes. Any other comments or questions? Well, I thank everybody. If you you'll get an email from me tomorrow, and you'll get the 6 points, and you'll get your prize, those who are winning, and any questions that you have, feel free to go ahead and email me. Great. It didn't get into pure chaos like I thought. Good.